Billionaires Club has some exotic personalities. Let's face it, you don't become a billionaire just being normal. One of those billionaires who continually seeks his own path is Larry Ellison. Ellison is one of the most interesting men in tech. The billionaire and reported 7th richest man in the world is the co-founder of Oracle. Ellison once said, "A corporation's primary goal is to make money." His story, though, is not just about money, but becoming a legend. Here's how Ellison went from two-time college dropout to international playboy and a tech titan in his life. Larry Ellison was born in New York City to an unwed Jewish mother. His biological father was an Italian-American U.S. Army Air Corps pilot. After Ellison contracted pneumonia at the age of 9 months, his mother gave him to her aunt and uncle for adoption, and he did not meet his biological mother again until he was 48. Ellison moved to Chicago's South Shore, which was a middle-class neighborhood back then. He remembers his adoptive mother as warm and loving, in contrast to his often distant adoptive father, who had chosen the name Ellison to honor his point of entry into the United States, that was Ellis Island. Ellison attended South Shore High School in Chicago and later was admitted to University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign and was enrolled as a pre-med student. At Illinois, he was named Science Student of the Year, but later withdrew without taking final exams after his sophomore year because his adoptive mother had just died. After spending the summer of 1966 in California, he then attended the University of Chicago for one term, studying physics and mathematics. He did not take any exams, and at Chicago he first encountered computer design. In 1966, aged 22, Larry moved to Berkeley, California. During the 1970s, after a brief stint at Amdahl Corporation, Ellison began working for Ampex Corporation. His projects included a database for the CIA, which he named Oracle. In 1977, he founded Software Development Laboratories SDL with 2 partners with an investment of $2,000, of which $1,200 was his. In 1979, the company renamed itself Relational Software Inc, and in 1983 it officially became Oracle Systems Corporation after its flagship product, the Oracle Database. As one of the key drivers of the growing computer industry, Oracle grew fast. In 1986, Oracle had its initial public offering, reporting revenue of $55 million. And today, Larry functions as the chairman of the board and chief technology advisor of the company after quitting the position of the CEO in 2014. Ellison is not just known for his work, but also for his willingness to trash-talk his competitors. For much of the 90s, he and Oracle were locked into public relations with a competitor Informix, which went so far as to place a dinosaur crossing billboard outside Oracle's Silicon Valley offices at one point. And no competitor, though, drives Ellison crazier than Bill Gates. As a matter of fact, Ellison hates Bill Gates. Their rivalry dates back to the early 1980s. Both of these guys founded software companies at almost exactly the same time with almost exactly the same goals and ideas for the future. Oracle went public on March 12, 1986, and Microsoft went public the very next day. Riding the wave of Oracle's huge prior day success, Microsoft's bankers raised the company's opening price target from $16 to $21. And when Microsoft was done trading on March 13th, it had doubled Oracle's market cap, thanks largely to the trail blazed by Oracle. That set the tone for the next 2 decades. Microsoft was number 1 and Oracle number 2. Gates proceeded to spend the next several decades dominating the personal computer software market. Microsoft edged out all competitors, often using less than scrupulous strategies. Ellison and Oracle still managed to carve out a highly lucrative but not quite as valuable dominating position in the business software market. Throughout the 1990s and 2000s, no one was more frustrated and angry over Microsoft's world dominance than Larry Ellison. Ellison was incensed that his company constantly had to take a backseat to Gates and Microsoft. It was especially maddening because he believed Microsoft's products were never the best available.
Well, what Microsoft calls perhaps is anti-Microsoft campaign.
Well, what's new is nothing's new. Microsoft continues to do what they always do, which is to keep the price of Windows high and copy other people's software and just add it to Windows. That is the absolute opposite of innovation. And Bill claiming that's innovation, I guess it is innovation in business practice. It's anti-innovation in technology.
Microsoft offerings were often just the only option available to consumers thanks to their monopoly on the personal computer. Ellison never missed an opportunity to publicly deride Gates. In every single interview and keynote speech he gave, one or more Gates insults would be unleashed. Larry's longtime best friend, though, was Apple's founder, Steve Jobs. Jobs also had no love for Gates. When Microsoft was being investigated by the Justice Department for antitrust violations in the 1990s, guess who paid for private investigators to supply the feds with dirt? Well, Larry Ellison. Ellison's investigators famously dug through trash dumpsters at several technology advocacy groups that were publicly supporting Microsoft in its antitrust case to prove that they were in fact funded by Microsoft. Ellison had other interests than just work. He has a collection of cars, jets, and several aircrafts which he is licensed to pilot. Ellison has also been passionate about sailing since his early 20s, but got serious about the sport in 1990s when he bought a 78-foot racing sailboat he called Sayonara. He started competing in races, winning world championships, and once almost dying in a storm on Sydney Harbor. Larry later began competing in the America's Cup, an annual yacht race that takes place every 3 or 4 years. In 2010, Ellison and his crew won the race with the then 65-year-old billionaire on board. Not just that, Ellison owns nearly all of Hawaiian island, Lanai. He bought 98% of the island in 2012 for an estimated $300 million. His dream is to turn it into a sustainable paradise and even more attractive tourist destination. Larry also wants to create a well-organized employee community there. Among his plans is to create a 100% green community. As he's going to achieve this through his wellness company Sensei, whose main purpose is to use data to help people lead healthier and longer lives. In order to transit the island away from fossil fuels toward 100% renewable energy, Ellison wants to purchase the island's power plant and electric grid from Hawaiian Electric Corporation. And guess where Bill and Melinda Gates got married back in 1994? On Lanai. Larry tore down the former hotel where Bill and Melinda said "I do" and built what today is a Four Seasons hotel that is 100% owned by Ellison. Not that Bill and Melinda will ever need to go on an anniversary trip again, but had they wanted to revisit the former site of their nuptials, they'd have to pay Larry for the privilege. Through his movie producer daughter Megan Ellison, Larry has provided the funds that paid for blockbusters like Zero Dark 30, American Hustle, and Foxcatcher. Back to the money Ellison keeps doing well, in 2018, he turned $1 billion investment in Tesla into $10 billion and a seat on company's board of directors. Whether it's yacht racing, buying whole Hawaiian islands, or trash-talking competitors, there's always a good chance that we'll be surprised by what Ellison, who has a net worth of $84.3 billion, does next. What about you? If you had the money, would you buy an island, a jet, or invest in Tesla? Let us know in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. Please leave a thumbs up and share the video if you liked it. For more interesting content like this, subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell to never miss an upload. See you guys in the next one.